Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, what we're about to crack into is how to build Haldir like a chain. Alright, so first up, kind of just want to go over the items. I've got them set up this season. Nothing really too special, but I do want to kind of just toss in there kind of how, from now on, how I have them built for stat-wise and kind of how that contributes over into their overall effectiveness, essentially. So, got them set up with an Elven Zerg. Good stat distribution for might, focus, and speed. He doesn't focus a whole lot on focus. That's kind of funny, but he focuses a lot on might, though. Focuses a lot on might, a little bit of speed. That's great, and then speed on elves, because you're mainly going to be using them with elven units anyway. So, and then allied range units, damage dealt 1.5%. That will add up tremendously if you start to get this thing enhanced or refined. Hunter's skin, nothing too special. Focus, speed. This isn't preferred, but I do like the added on defense of the ranged units, and then guard. For instance, every 2 rounds, 1 allied unit, defense plus 5%. Trapper's Hood, focus and speed. I don't really have too many options for might. I'm going to be honest. So if you do have a might set up, but I do like Hysteria. Every 2 rounds against 1 enemy target, 50% chance to inflict madness for 1 round. Really solid. That's probably one of the best things I've seen yet. For a item attack or add-on. And then sustain all allies every 2 rounds, recover HP modified by the focus stat. So it kind of makes up for all the focus I have stacked onto these guys right now. So let's dive into the portrait here. I got him respect level 8, and he does have balance, which is by far my favorite. 25 might, 25 focus, 25 speed, and then 2 skill points. So let's go to allocate the points. This took a lot of play testing to finally get down a viable thing, and he is so he's like a situational stomper, because you want to be close to beast. So he's good in the dwarven area because he's good with the shapeshifters, and he's really good with the eagles, of course. So if you start Lothlorien and Erebor, he is so good because you're able to get the shapeshifters. So let's dive into why that is. First up, I think no matter what, you're going to want to end up going Sylvan Elf all the way through. The poison lasts for 2 rounds, and that's really where most of the damage is going to be coming from, is because every round this guy is going to be launching off attacks, and he's going to be also poisoning them now for 2 rounds. This right here, Forced Agility, this is a necessity. All allied units have a 20% chance of attacking twice per round. So he works really well with Eagles up front, Bocav in the back, or if you have marchwardens, or if you have Rangers of the North. Now, he wouldn't be too good with the North shots, the ones with the abilities where they attack as an ability. So they wouldn't be attacking twice per round. They would only be casting their ability. So mainly good with Rangers of the North and the marchwardens. Beast training. So, for instance, because I don't have eagles, I'm in Gondor. I did get them this season, but at the end when it didn't even matter. I had, pretty much my trade-off was that I had Oathbreakers, so I ended up using not Haldir too much in PvP because of this. I was using Oathbreaker setups on other teams. But if you start in Lothlorien or Erebor, this is a necessity because you're able to max this out at 14.2%. Per HP per round, and then that'll max up to, let's go ahead and just activate it, and I'll just restart it. So 28%. So if you're Erebor, let's just go ahead and do an Erebor setup, and I'll just run it through real quick. It's 100% HP per round. And if you have, let's just say you want to do marchwardens in the back, you want to do shapeshifters up front and eagles in the front, you're going to be healing. That's not even modified by the focus set. That's just 100% HP per round. That's an insane just stat by itself. He's such a monster because of that. Okay, but let's reset and let's just go for let's say you're not doing whatchamacallit. Let's say you're not doing Erebor. Let's just say you're on the left side of the map. You're not next to Beast, but you started in Linden. And you wouldn't be using these with the long shots, for instance. But nonetheless, they would be good with marksmen and with Rangers of the North. So, Guide versus Galadhrim. So, let's kind of dive into a little bit of both of these real quick. So guide is the first 2 rounds, all allied units, physical damage caused, and this goes up to 45%. And then Galadhrim is all allied units, or all ranged units, physical damage 1.2% modified by the speed stat. And this guy's already pretty fast. So but the reason why I would not go this is because the 2 skills paired with it are not making up for the reason why you would go 15 points down a tree. Is you also want to consider the 2 trees that you're also with. The shield training is good, but that's not where you're tanking at. You're not tanking with, you know, unless you have Rangers of the North. This guy is a perfect setup for Rangers of the North. You know, you get this. You got Sylvan Elf, you get double attacking, and then your ranged units do increase damage. So the best setup for him, and he's so situational. He really is. He's a situational stomper. So let's go into guide. Let's go into guide right here and break this down. The reason why I like guide so much is because both of these that are paired with it are so good. I've seen Faramir hit for so much healing that it's insane. He heals for so much on round 2. They're able to recover so much of the cleave damage that so many units have in round 1 and 2. They do so much cleave damage. So the reason why I would go guide over Galadhrim is because you already do so much damage as it is, and this helps out so much with all of your units. So if you're not running a full 2 archers in the back, 1 melee, this setup is the best, because if you're running 2 melee in the front and you're running beast squad, then guide is going to be your best option. So I do want to go all the way down this street, and I haven't even talked about Marchwarden yet. I'm going to dive into that here in a second. Now I have mine at level 43 at respect level 8. So that's just for instance. So let's look at Marchwarden real quick, and I'll kind of go into how I'm going to have them skilled here in a second, fully up. So against 1 enemy unit, you deal 16% damage. This is not the important part of this ability. It's really the 1 allied unit avoids the next damage received. You just want to get 1 point in that. You just want to get 1 point, and then you're done. Marchwarden is not that good, really, whenever you look at it. It's only 16% physical damage, and it goes up by 16% each round. That's not the best part. You see, Might and Focus, he doesn't use a whole lot of focus damage. You see, if Sylvan Elf was based off of the poison damage was somehow based off of focus damage, this would be great. But Coal of the Week is good. That is a really good starter ability. I should say really just a good ability at all. But Guide's extra ability, Armed Escorts, and Foresight is so killer. I mean, this is 70%. The only one that's going to get you is a Pursuit unit. So, but if you have Armed Escort and you have Foresight, you're making up for so much of that damage, though, that you're going to be either taking, losing, and the first 2 rounds are just crazy good. So, there you are with a level. So, let's just say you're level. If you're at 42, you can do this full setup. I do have them respect level 8, so I have invested quite a good deal of points into them for respect level. But either way, though, all you need is 1 point in Marchwarden. That's all you need. You just want the 1 allied units avoids the next damage received. That's all you need. That is all you need. Guide, 45% bonus damage. And then the max level effect is while damage is increased, the army gains stun immunity. That is all of your units. They gain stun immunity for 2 rounds. That means they are launching off all of their damage in the first 2 rounds, no matter what, just unavoided. And you get all of that knocked out. Then you got Armed Escort to make up for some of that damage that they're retaining past the avoidance status if they do get hit. Sylvan Elf, I mean, this puts him at a round 1 through 10 commander, which makes him so good. So does Forced Ability. So after you're done doing your damage, your ranged units and Haldir come in and they keep the damage flowing throughout the whole game. Now, let's say you had Beast Training, for instance. You wanted to do 7 points. I would either I would do less of Armed Escort. That's how I would make it up, is I would take out Armed Escort. I would still do 1 point Marchwarden, no matter what. And if you're a free-to-play player completely, and let's just say you have 5, let's just say you're at 5, And if you're at 50, which is where, you know, 50 in this game is actually not too hard to get, especially if you're investing in the grain. If you're set up on your ring power and you're able to, this is probably a whole other video, but if you're able to get set up with all these, and, you know, I've gotten a good deal of commanders way high leveled, and a lot of them are spread out because I try and do so many reviews. But getting him to level 50 isn't too difficult. You can just spam him on tiles and, you know, get him up. But if you're at level 50, you've got respect level 5. I think you've got 57 points to invest in. So you can diversify kind of as you see fit. I mean, this guy is so situational. Galadhrim, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that because of the 2 extra abilities that come with it, it's not as worthwhile as Guide, Sylvan Elf, Foresight, some of those other things. But Beast Training too is such another one to consider. And if you wanted to, you could also do less points in Guide, Foresight, and Armed Escort, and totally just bring back. So you could take away 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here, and you could have full Beast Training with where I'm at level 43. So, but this guy just takes being situational to a whole nother level. He's good as a base commander, though. He really is. He's such a good base commander. Really want to stress that. But Marchwarden, all you need is 1 point. Just go ahead and avoid that tree. I wish that there was something else besides Elite. If not, I would probably go Marchwarden over Guide, possibly. But Guide gives so much damage as it is. Galadhrim, if you have it set up properly with 2 archers in the back, or if you're just using 3 archers in the back, you have Rangers of the North, Marksmen, and you have Bow Cavalry, for instance. This would be a killer setup right here. This would be really good. You could set it up with Sylvan Elf, Forest Agility, Galadhrim, and then what I would do is I would go Guide, and then I would go Foresight, and just forget Armed Escort, and just go all about your units. But that's kind of it. I know this was a way detailed explanation for Haldir, but he is a really good commander. It's just he's got to be built right, in my opinion, to do a ton of damage and to kind of work him right. I'll just throw this here. Oh, whoops. I'm lagging. Activate. Okay. But yeah, overall though, really good commander, solid starter. I think in terms of starters though, he is on the lesser end because he takes a while to get set up. I mean, his first 2 abilities, if you're free to play, are really whenever you start off the game. Until you get Sylvan Elf, he's not doing a whole lot of damage because he does have Guide, he does have Marchwarden, but Marchwarden doesn't do a whole lot of damage. So he's a later game commander, absolutely. But either way though, really good commander if you've got him spread out in abilities. But I think I've talked long enough, and I'll let y'all go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.